Hey guys, so this is Nathan Barnett here. I just wanted to take a minute, put up a slide for a project for Discourse 200 at UMKC. So today what I kind of want to talk about is just how, especially amongst college students and people who live an active, busy lifestyle, stress can be a really big factor for their everyday life. So unlike most graduation commencement speeches, they always start off saying, this is just the beginning. There's years to come, great things to come. You've got all the time in the world. Well, time doesn't actually count up. It counts down every single day. So every choice we make, we have to choose, how do we want to spend that time? Do we want to do homework? Do we want to go to a job and make money so that we can do other things with our time? What do we want to do? The quote here is by C.S. Lewis. He is a famous author. He wrote The Chronicles of Narnia and many other books. But the quote, "The future is something which everyone reaches at the rate of 60 minutes an hour, whatever he does, whoever he is." So, no matter who you are, what you do, whether you are in the 1% of the world as far as how wealthy you are, or if you're among the poorest, every day there's still 24 hours in a day, and the clock is still ticking down. Along with that, everyone has things they need to do. If you're a college student, you've got homework assignments. If you're a programmer at a software firm, you've got deadlines, you've got to write code, you've got to do stuff by a certain time or your boss, you get in trouble. And so every day, as that time ticks down, there's stress. You've got to be able to do things by a certain time. There's deadlines. You may not be able to meet them. Other stuff comes up. Life happens. You could have a family incident that comes up and you're not able to finish stuff by your deadline. So really today what I want to talk about is just how stress can have negative effects on our lives, and how taking that little bit of extra time just to relax and to slow down, that can really benefit you in the long run and even in your day-to-day stuff. So something that I wanted to sort of tie in was, there's a book called Go Dog Go, and it's actually designed as a children's storybook just to teach kids how to read. And the reason I wanted to use it for this illustration was just the book uses a lot of high contrast colors. So a white background, neon colors, yellow, orange, and it really highlights just contrast and those sorts of opposites. But the children's storybook was designed to teach kids how to read. So there's a lot of repetitious wording, rhymes, things like that. One of the pages in the book shows the dogs going around on a Ferris wheel. And they're saying, go around, around, again and again and again. They want to keep going. And I thought that was a really good illustration for what I like to call the Ferris wheel of college life, right? So college life, at least for students, revolves around a cyclical pattern, right? So you have a new semester, you get into your classes, you have the first day, you have the stress of doing class assignments. Then usually about 2/3 of the way into the semester, your professors give you group projects, or they announce it earlier. Then you have midterms, finals, the semester ends, then you get back to break, and then it just starts over. In the middle of that cycle, there's a ton of stress, right? So when you get to the first day of class, you're excited, new classes, you're going to learn stuff, but you also get told, here's all the work you're going to do this semester. Here's what you got to do by this day. Here's what you need to do by this day. It's going to be hard. You got to know how to do it. And then, you have midterms, tests. Have you learned everything you need to? You got finals, more tests. Do you remember everything you learned? And among that cycle of change, there's immense opportunity for stress. One of the pictures I put up here on the right side shows a dog in a house just having a cup of coffee, and the house is burning down, and he's just totally fine with it. He's like, this is fine, I'm okay with the events that are currently unfolding, and he just sits there and takes the heat. Well, that's kind of what a lot of people do when it comes to stress. They see the stress, they feel the effects of stress, it's all around them, but instead of, maybe defending against it or doing a counteraction, they just say, this is fine. I'm stressed. I got assignments due, not getting any sleep, I can't think straight, but, I'm okay with the events that are currently unfolding. And that's kind of just how, at least from my experience, that I've seen college students take stress, right? And, I'd like to say that, especially when it comes to the various things that college students face, or even just anyone with an active lifestyle, and like I said earlier, the finals, midterms, and job opportunities, that as well. Planning for the future, next semester, am I going to work next semester? As those things come up, we can either just take the stress, let it build up, and however it affects us, or we can try and deal with it in a positive way that can not cause us to be worried or have anxiety or feel depressed, or we could try and handle the stress in a way that doesn't affect us negatively. Another part of the book, Go Dog Go, shows the dogs traveling around in cars. Dogs in cars again, going away fast. Look at those dogs go dogs go, right? So the dogs are traveling around, they're all in a line, they're all speeding away, they've got the dust flying behind them, the light's green, so they're speeding through. And that's really, that's similar to if you're a college student or if you're just someone who lives life. You've been late for something. Whether it's late for a meeting, late for a class, you wake up late and it starts in 10 minutes and you've got at least a 20-minute drive, right? So, similar to those dogs, you may be the kind of person who doesn't speed. And in that case, I'm sure the authorities appreciate that. But there are also people, like myself, who will speed to get to place on time. And, they're stressed with speeding. Am I going to get a ticket? Am I going to cause a wreck? Is someone else going to hit me? And that just adds to the stress of already waking up late and already missing something. This is just, again, another way that stress is able to creep into our day-to-day lives. Again, in the book, there's a part where the dogs, they're all just they were asleep, it was nighttime, and the rhyme goes sort of like this. Now it is day, the sun is up, get up, it is day. Now is the time for all dogs to get up. Time to get going. Go dogs go. And so, it's the morning, right? This little green dog with the the megaphone speaker and the bell, he's waking them all up. He's saying, it's time to go, it's time to go. And the dogs are launching out of bed. One of them was under the bed asleep. A few of them were still waking up. One dog still had his nightcap on. But, they're launching out of the bed. It's time to go. They've got to hurry. And, that's similar, again, to college life. You wake up and it's like, as soon as the day starts, you've got to hurry. You got to get ready for school. You got to be at school. You got to finish that homework assignment, finish that essay. You need to finish reading that assignment so that you can discuss it in class. You need to, finish writing code for that program that's due by midnight tonight, so you better get started. As soon as the day starts, everything that's on your agenda or your list to do, it's waiting to be done. So you've got to spend your time doing those things. And as you're doing those things, the stress can just build up. And if it builds up, we've got to have one way to deal with it, right? This was a little rhyme that I thought went well with that previous picture from the book. Now it is day, and you woke up late. Now it is day, and you have to pay. Um, that was actually from my professor, Nikki Cassidy, for this course, and I just thought I'd throw that in there. But the meme that I put up here as well, even your coffee is surprised you woke up this late. Um, that just sort of ties into the racing cars and the picture from the book about the dogs waking up. You know, everybody does wake up late at some point. Whether it's on the day that you should have woken up early, or if it's just on a weekend where it's okay to wake up late and you won't miss anything. And if it is on the weekend, that's awesome. But if it happens to be on the days where you need to be somewhere or you're going to be late for something, then that rhyme is kind of true. You got to pay. You wake up late and now the stress is on, the rush is going, you got to get somewhere fast, you need to accomplish stuff by a certain time, and the stress just builds, and you do kind of have to pay for it because you slept in or you woke up late. So I did a little research when I was working on this project, and stress, it hasn't been definitively defined to equate to certain diseases or anything like that, but it has shown a strong correlation through many different studies to a few different things, and I just sort of wanted to list them here. If you're under a lot of stress, oftentimes you have great difficulty controlling your emotions. So college students, that's kind of what I was imagining when I was working on this. When they've got tests due, midterms, projects, group projects, essays, the stress of wanting to do well and wanting to accomplish those things, that can build up, and that can cause a lot of emotional instability. And really, if you're emotionally unstable, then it can make a lot of other things hard too, right? So how to cope with not doing well, or how to cope with forgetting something. Emotions can be a big factor for how you're able to cope with the day. Another thing is stress can lower your body's ability to fight off disease. I wrote metabolism, but really what I meant was it lowers your body's ability to fight off disease. So whenever you are stressed, the hormone that is released in your brain, if you have too much of that hormone, it's called the stress hormone, it has a scientific name, but the dubbed name is the stress hormone. And if you have too much of that in your brain, it can lower your metabolism, your ability to fight off things, right? So it can also lower your ability to fight off disease. So when you're stressed, you can oftentimes get sick more often. You can catch a common cold. You could get the flu, or even more severe diseases as well. And so stress can very easily affect your health, in the sense that if you are stressed, if you are overwhelmed with a lot of things, then in a variety of ways it can lower your body's ability to fight off disease. And another thing that I just wanted to list was, in several different ways, stress can have negative effects on your heart. So if you're exposed to an immense amount of stress, again, that hormone that's released in your brain can cause adrenaline and other drugs to be released in your body, which is natural. But if too much of the stress hormone is released in your brain, it can release large amounts of those other drugs, and that can affect your heart. One thing that I found when I was researching this is that there's a sort of dubbed sickness called broken heart syndrome. And the reason it's called that is whenever someone finds out about a terrible grief, or like a tragedy, so maybe a death in the family, or a breakup in a relationship, something like that, there's actually enough cases that it's been dubbed the broken heart syndrome, because when those stressful or shocking events happen, people's hearts can have like a momentary failure, and it's a stroke. It's like a heart attack. And another way that stress can affect your heart is just under immense stress, it can cause your blood pressure to raise, and that can put more strain on your heart, right? So more pressure, it causes the heart to have to work harder to get the blood where it needs to go. And at the bottom here, this is just a link to the sources for this info on stress. So really, there are definitely negatives to being overly stressed. I know there are people who have said that some stress can be good. It can power you to get through the day. It can give you energy or adrenaline. It can give you the fight to get through something. But I really also wanted to point out that there are benefits of relaxing, right? So taking a little bit of extra time just to slow down and sort of rejuvenate yourself, or even just spending time doing something you enjoy can really benefit you in the long run and in a variety of ways, just the same as remaining stressed can cause negative things. So kind of on the opposite side against staying stressed or being stressed, there's lots of ways that relaxing or just taking a little bit of time to do something that is calming. So some people that's meditation, some people that's reading a book, maybe taking a walk. It could be as simple as just drinking a cup of coffee and watching the sunset. Whatever it is that helps you to relax, these things can have these benefits. So one of them is it can protect your heart. Sort of just the opposite of what I was saying, where stress can cause problems for your heart. Relaxing can protect your heart. It can lower your blood pressure. Like I said, the stress hormone that is released in your brain and can cause problems for your heart. If you relax and you give your body time just to sort of mellow out after stressful events or stressful periods, then it can greatly sort of defend from heart disease or the various different causes of heart attacks or strokes. People who are often relaxed, they have a statistically more significant chance of not having a heart attack or a stroke than someone who lives a stressful lifestyle and is constantly in a mode or operation of stress. Another way that relaxation can benefit you is simply memory retention. It was shown in a case study in rats and mice that when they were in a situation where they were stressed, their memory retention went significantly down, whereas if they were in a situation where they felt relaxed, their memory retention was much better and longer. Similarly, in studies for humans and adults, that same trend was found to be true. And so if you take that little bit of time just to relax, memory retention can be a really big deal, especially for a college student, for tests or for finals, or, if they're trying to learn something for a presentation, whatever the case may be, memory retention is a really key factor. And finally, another thing I wanted to show was if you're relaxed, it can help you make better decisions. It was found that people who were stressed tended to not weigh the advantages and disadvantages of a situation evenly. They would actually lean more toward the positive or optimistic side, and in doing so, they could sometimes make illogical decisions. Simply because the amount of stress they were under, they decided to make a decision based on the potential positives, and it just didn't pay off. But people who were relaxed showed that they were more often to weigh the benefits and disadvantages of a situation to make an even decision. And finally, relaxation can help to fend off depression. The stress hormone that is released in your brain, when that hormone is released, it lowers the levels of dopamine in your brain and in your body. And dopamine is one of the drugs that your body produces that sort of allows you to view things in a little more less serious tone, I guess would be a way to put it. Dopamine just allows you, it's sort of like, stereotypically it's like a mellow drug. So it just sort of calms you. So when you're stressed, it lowers the dopamine levels and lowers your calmness. And, that can lead to depression. So I know these are only 4 reasons, but there are numerous more. These were just the 4 that I felt I really wanted to show as it pertained to college students, because depression, decision making, memory retention, those are all big deals for college students and people leading an active lifestyle. And so finally, I really just wanted to encourage everyone who's going to watch this that life is stressful. We can't really get around that. No matter where you are, what you do, you're going to have stress. However, how we handle it and how we let stress affect us, we can control that. And so this little picture I wanted to put up, stress spelled backwards is desserts. It's kind of fun, whimsical, but stress spelled backwards is desserts. So, even if life throws us stress and there's hard times and struggles and it gets really, burdensome, how we let that affect us, that can really change our whole outlook on the day or our life or our project, whatever it is. And so I had a few quotes I wanted to share. One is by John Lennon, and it's simply, "Time you enjoy wasting was not wasted." And so, if you're a college kid and you're doing all sorts of projects and you're stressed, take that extra time to go get an ice cream cone, to walk down the street, to go see a friend for 10 minutes and just relax and hang out, ask them how their day is going. Whatever you do that helps you relax or just chill out, that can really benefit you physically, mentally, emotionally, and those benefits can really be helpful when you're living a stressful life. Who doesn't want to fight off depression? Who doesn't want to, have a healthier heart or be able to make decisions better or have a better memory? Those are all good things that I think, whether you are a college student or not, those can really be beneficial. And this last quote I put up was by William James, a philosopher, and it was simply, "The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another." And that's really what I want to leave you guys with. No matter what stressful situation you're choosing, or not you're choosing, but whatever stressful situation you're in, you're able to choose one thought over another. You're able to choose, how do I want to let this affect me? How do I want to handle this? And the way we handle stress can really be a benefit or a disadvantage. And so I just want to encourage you guys that the greatest weapon you have against stress is your ability to choose one thought over another. All right, thank you guys. Hope you have a good time. See you later.